Throughout life, you always have to learn lessons, and you always have to remember those lessons, good or bad. So I've practiced my whole life trying to pay attention to these lessons, and here's one right here. That seat's not going to get me twice. There we go. No wet butt today. I ain't playing those games. Oh, I go compress some dumpsters. Well, like everything used these days, gotta expect problems. Sometimes they happen in like the least ideal situation. So here I am, crushing in the dumpster with the outriggers down and the bucket in there, and the back tire is off the ground. And it just blew a main hydraulic line. Oh boy. Well, let's see what I can do with it. I'm sure Sunday afternoon there's going to be nobody to make me a line. Hopefully it's just a line, not like a pump seal or something like that. But time to learn more about tractors. Well, I should know better as being a mechanic to like go through everything on something when you buy it, but kind of under the gun here and bought this. Guy said it was 100% ready to go and kind of trusted him and didn't go through everything, and here we are. If I would have taken the time to kind of go through everything and get to know the machine and wasn't in a rush, I probably would have caught this. And basically, come on, flip around. Basically, here's the axle, there's the frame. It tips up and back. These hydraulic lines here, coming forward, going up to the controls for the bucket. They were over further, and this one was wedged between the frame and there. So when I pushed the bucket down and it put weight on the front, it pinched it and blew out the back side of it. So I'll work on getting this out, and probably just have to wait till tomorrow. I'll leave this thing in the middle of the driveway and come back and deal with it then. Minor speed bumps. We'll get through it. And again, about when you like learn lessons, good, bad, how to do things, what not to do, what to do, and all that stuff. Always remember them and carry them forward. Because I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. I just got a tiny basic set of tools in my truck, and I'm trying to get this line off so I can either find some place to get it today or have it made where I'm staying before I drive an hour and a half out here in the morning and put it on. And I need a 15/16 wrench, and I don't have a 15/16 wrench here. So it's either close up, drive around, try and find a place to buy a 15/16 wrench like an AutoZone or something, and then come back and take the line off, or rummage what you can find and remember previous experiences. So back in the day, fans on engines, they typically had like 4 little bolts on them, like 1/2-inch wrench bolts. Then some of them went, Fords I think initially, went to a huge nut that was like 1 inch and 9/16 or 1 inch and 5/8 or something like that. I forget the size, but huge. And none of us had this size. So what you do is you take a long chisel and you go down and you catch the edge of the nut, and you'd start driving it around, and you'd catch a little burr, and then it would start to break free, and then you could spin it off. And you'd do the same thing to get it back on in a pinch. So I rummaged the remnants and found an old hammer and an old broken flathead screwdriver. and I was able to come at the nut. And if you look, see little burrs there. I was able to come at it, drive it straight, make a little burr, come sideways, and start driving it. And now it's loose. And now I can take it off the rest of the way by hand. And now I can go get a replacement one. So I just need both hands to get it off. But always remember those little lessons, especially when it's something that's like handy. Don't see it as disadvantage, like, I don't have this tool and I got to do all this work to get by without it. Be like, hey, it's a life lesson, and later on it might be used for something else. Just like this, or over the years I've used it on totally rounded off, stripped off bolts on exhaust manifolds and stuff like that. So I guess today's about remembering lessons you learned back in the day. Let's keep going. That was probably a short-lived day. Let's see if there's any chance if I can find somebody to make a line this afternoon, but I kind of doubt it. So far, I just managed to make everything a soupy mess. Compacted this dumpster, and the tractor broke. Still got to do that dumpster. I did this corner of it. And yeah, so we got that line out. And in case if you're wondering, if you got a large size hydraulic line, an old birdie plugs the hole absolutely perfectly. It's the exact size of this particular line. So, random stuff. Between a screwdriver and hammer to get the nut out, the birdie to put in there, all the old jeans and everything out of the dumpster I was talking about from the bureau in the basement. Those are absorbing all the hydraulic fluid nicely. It's all about being crafty when you got to. And like yesterday, not having the key to the trailer and having a lockpick set. Got to be handy. Well, a little defeated today. Ran around everywhere I could to try and get a line, and couldn't find anybody that was open to make one. I did go to Tractor Supply, and I needed an 84-inch line, so they had a 24-inch line and a 60-inch line and a union. So I grabbed those, and then they had a 90-degree swivel for the end of it, so I grabbed that. But they didn't have one fitting I need to bump it up to, I believe it's 5/8 O-ring. 5/8 male with an O-ring fitting that goes into the control valve. So, left Tractor Supply, shot over to the place Clem's, and they didn't have anything that was going to work. Then I shot over to Advanced Auto Parts, and they don't have anything other than like a couple of plow fittings. So unfortunately, we're dead in the water. So not like I could get much more done tonight, but it would have been nice to get that in, even just working under the lights of my truck, and get the tractor put away and know I was ready to go for tomorrow morning. But tomorrow will be a better day, be more productive. Excuse me. I'll probably stop by a couple of places where I'm staying and see if I can get the fitting before I even come down in the morning, and then put it on. And I'll do some research tonight. It's a little not clear on what the hydraulic fluid is for the tractor. I think this one uses the transmission fluid as hydraulic fluid, but I'm not sure. Like I said, it's not totally clear. So I'll do a little research on that tonight so I can pick up the hydraulic oil in the morning and the fitting, hopefully, and get that back in, and then hopefully come down, crush the other dump, get the tractor fixed, crush the other dumpster, and then probably work on emptying the other side of the garage in the meantime. So wish me luck for tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be a better day. But either way, it is what it is. We take the wins, we take the losses, and we just keep moving forward. You know, every little bit you get done is one step closer. Tractor's broken, but I got one complete dumpster compacted and the other one partially compacted. So some work got done, a little bit. And we'll take that as a little bit of a win. Even with a setback, it's still moving forward in some fashion. So stay positive. We all need to. And I'll check in tomorrow and hopefully have a positive, productive day. Thanks for watching again. try a fresh start today. So I went by the Parker store up in New Hampshire before I came down, and they had the fitting I needed. There it is. So what's good about this is this changes over from the 5/8 O-ring fitting there, gives me a 90, and then this adapter here gets it to a conventional, that gets it to a conventional pipe thread size for like all the lines you can get at basically Tractor Supply. So instead of having a whole new line made with the proper end crimped on it, if something ever happens to it again, you can't fix it in a pinch because it's a crimped on made line. Where this now has an adapter on there that converts it over to the conventional style fitting. Now if that line was to ever blow in the future, then I could just run out, grab one, and just thread the line in pretty much up until like 6 o'clock on Sunday night. So that's pretty cool. So that's what I'm aiming for. This thing's probably going to be around a long time, and I want to make it very usable and serviceable for future things. Also, if as things go, any of the weird lines, which there's not many, that's one of only 2 I think on this one, that's an oddball setup. So as I get rid of all the oddball stuff, get the more conventional, as something goes wrong, you have a better chance of being able to rob a line from somewhere else and put it in a different location to get the tractor to either move or get the backhoe to be able to put the backhoe away so you can put the tractor away, whatever it is. But with this particular line, blue, there was no bypassing it because I didn't have a fitting that would fit on this top side. So it's all about planning for the future and making things simpler. So I'm going to get into getting those lines in, and then I'm going to run out and get the hydraulic fluid for it, because I wasn't sure while I was up there, and I'm pretty sure they have it at Tractor Supply. So I'm going to get the line in it, and hopefully that goes smooth, and we'll zip tie it out of the way this time so it's not going to get crushed, and I'll check back in a while. Well, we're going to start calling it Maggie for now. Let's see if it sticks. Somebody suggested Maggie. Let's refer to this as Maggie. Let's see how it feels. But got the lines in it, rerouted a couple other lines, got everything all zip tied so it's out of the way of everything, and it's up and running. As you can see, the backhoe is up in the air now, so everything's working, not leaking fluid. It's definitely low on fluid, but I think I only lost a quart or 2, so it might still function for crushing in the dumpsters right now, and I gotta go pick up more hydraulic fluid to top it off. And had another visitor from husband of niece of somebody that used to live here, but that was a good visit. He seems like a good guy. 2 of his sons with him seemed like awesome kids, and gave me some more backstory on the house, some more horror stories, and just some more backstories. And he had mentioned somebody else's name, and I remembered there is a door up in the garage with a bunch of writing in it, so I brought him in to show that. Seemed like he was pretty excited to see it, so that was cool, and whatnot. And definitely seems like a good guy. Offered to hook me up with tools and stuff like that if I need, where my stuff is about 100 miles away. So that's good. So that was a huge bonus. And now that this is up and running, I'm going to get to crushing the dumpsters and get back on track. So here's what the lines look like. So again, there's that special fitting I was waiting on. So I was able to pick that up this morning, and then rerouted the lines, zip tied them all the way along, and then zip tied them up to that oil line right there, just so they're not touching the axle, because that's where it went under and got pinched on the frame rail and came down and just kind of left the excess over here. I'm not too happy with it, but a couple of these lines are a little compromised, so they need to be redone anyway, so I'll do those in a proper length later on. But right now they're not going to hit the tires. They're off the ground good enough for what I'm doing. They're probably about a foot off the ground, and yeah, so I'm going to get back to it. Wish me luck that I don't need to go get fluid before being able to use it, because I really want to get this done. So I'll check in later. Well, made some more progress. Give you all update on the progress. Got more of the front of this dumpster crushed in where the tractor was broken down, and got the front of this one all crushed in all the way up to there. Then I went over to the other side to crush in that side. And why is the tractor sitting over there with the bucket? The bucket's still in the air. Is it another hydraulic leak? Nope. Is it an alternator problem? Nope. It's a shifter problem. So, backing it up over here and put it in reverse. Reverse goes backwards, back to here, and backed up. Put the shifter forward. It still tried to back up. Put the shifter all the way forward. It went forward. Pulled the shifter back. Now it's jammed in the middle. So there's a shifter mechanism issue also. Well, it's probably going to be under the floorboards down there. So I probably got to pull the mat up, pull up the floorboards. Or maybe it's inside the steering column itself. But looks like I know what I'm doing for the rest of the day. Plus is it's working without having to go get more hydraulic fluid at this point. So that's positive. And it's not leaking oil. So that's positive. And now it's just stuck again. It's just trapped right here again. I think we're gonna find a name for it called like stubborn or donkey or something like that, because I put it in the dumpster the first day I got it, it was a parking spot. It didn't want to stop. Then had it in the garage when that finally had room, and then it really didn't want to stop. And then finishing up over there, it just stopped. So it just keeps wanting to be stuck certain places. Maybe it's a union tractor and it wants more time off. Maybe it's demanding its 15-minute breaks every 4 hours or whatever they get. But it hasn't been 4 hours. I think she's just lazy. All right, let's see what Maggie has to offer this time. Check in a while. Yep, bound up in the tranny. So now I'm gonna have to take this cover off to evict this mouse nest. Get that off. And hopefully I can just get in there and line up the forks, get everything back in line. My guess is there's probably like a plastic bushing in there that's worn that let it like slip by something and let both shifter rods go in the same direction when it's supposed to bring one back, change over, and go to another one. So let's see what we find. Never been in one of these tradies before. How bad can it be? Maybe I shouldn't have said that. I'll say let's hope for the best. That sounds better. Alright, all the bolts are off. Linkage is off. And let's watch together in case things go flying. Once in a while there's like spring-loaded stuff and ball checks and all kinds of stuff under here. Alright. Pretty simple concept down there. That's not good. I was hoping to see a couple of clutch forks right there that it was moving, and I'm not seeing them. So I had to put the phone down and get some light in there and see what's going on. Hopefully there's something there I can pry and pop back into place. I hope it's not like a failure of a mechanical component inside the tranny, because that would be a super bummer, because it's stuck between in drive and reverse. So you can't drive it forward, you can't drive it backwards. You pretty much can't move it at all. Might be able to throw the transmission in neutral and move it around with the bucket to get it away from the dumpster at least. But let me spend a few minutes, see what we got. Wish me luck, I'm gonna need it. Well, that's more what it's supposed to do. So I got it freed up. Inside the tranny there's nothing obvious. I think the synchros that it slides over back and forth, because it's one big round gear that goes across, selects forward, selects reverse. I bet you the synchros are a little bit marred in there. Plus the clutch isn't releasing all the way. Like the clutch could definitely release a little bit further. So I'm losing daylight. So I'm glad it's not stuck in both gears right now. I did have to get aggressive to get it to pop. But basically I put the gear shift for, first through fourth into neutral, so there was absolutely no load on it, and then just kept stabbing the clutch while I was putting tension on it both ways, fighting the shifter, and it eventually popped. And so that's a blessing. That's moving again, and it's probably going to happen again at some point. But I think one of the problems is that the clutch isn't releasing far enough. Like, you really got to stuff this thing to the floor. So I'm going to see if I have enough light left in the day to take the dash, basically the adjustments up in here. So I got to take this whole cluster apart here to get this back far enough to get in there. So let's see what I can do. Forward movement. The shifter, it's good enough where I can get back to using it right now, but I want to try and make sure it's not going to happen again. So I'm going to spend some time on the clutch. So I guess I didn't have to pull the dash apart, but I pulled it apart anyway. Whoops. But I got to the shifter, and the clutch linkage, and I can see it a lot clearer now and see what I'm doing. And here's the before. I got all the linkage broken free before I do an adjustment. I'll show you. But that's how much free play the clutch has now before it does anything. So that's an excessive amount. So the linkage is up in there. That little piece going up and down. So I got the nuts cracked free. I'm going to adjust that collar, show you where it should be. That's a little better. That's how much free play there is now. That's less than a quarter of what it was. You always want a little bit of free play. The free play is there, so when you let your foot off the clutch all the way, you're not riding the throw apparent the whole time and wearing things out. So you need a little bit of free play, but you don't need half the travel of the pedal free play. So that should make a world of difference with it shifting anyway. So that's maintenance I should have been doing anyway. But I was just trying to get stuff done. Shame on me. All right, I'm gonna get these things tightened up, get all this put back together, compact the rest of the dumpster, and get the tractor put away and locked. The sunball is no longer in sight. It's down over there. So probably only got maybe a half hour of light left. So enough talking. Back to work. Well, she's all back together, and clutch is adjusted, shifter linkage is freed up. Now I'm finally start compacting that dumpster. But well, I mentioned I took this all apart for no reason, because it was all, the adjustment was tucked up in there. I thought it was in here. But the gas gauge needle, there's a little pin down there. It was on the wrong side of it. So I continued taking it all apart, took that all apart, flipped the needle to the other side. So now I have a working gas gauge and got all the floor back together and whatnot. Luckily I brought more tools today. I brought a whole nother toolkit, and thankfully I did, because I needed a ton of it on this thing for this shifter linkage issue. So I'm gonna get back to it. I'll do a follow-up in a few minutes, because it's just about dark. Maggie's back up and running. She's tucked back in the garage, get locked up, disabled for the night. And we'll consider today's blessing that I was able to compact the dumpsters more than I thought I was going to. So to just barely get enough room out of these two. yeah, I might be able to just get enough room out of these two to get the rest of the basement emptied and hopefully the garage emptied. And then the next dumpster can be the demo dumpster for all the construction debris, the sheetrock, insulation, and all that jazz. And this morning I got the call back from the asbestos inspection. There is asbestos tiles in the breezeway, so I got to have them take them out. They can't take them out until the 10th, so I got a week and a half before they're done with that. So I'll talk to the building inspector, see if he'll let me gut the rest of the house, well, and not do that room until they're done with it. Hopefully he'll let me do it. Seems kind of reasonable, but whatever he says goes. He's the boss. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be like $3,500. Basically, this little breezeway, it's probably 8 by 12 maybe, and most of the tile is already released from the floor. Most of the tile is already released from the floor from all the water that's been going in there and the crap that was left in there and stuff. So it's going to be an easy job for him, but I get it. It's a specialty thing, and $3,500 between the permits and doing the work, the disposal, and a secondary checkup from a different company to double check their work and to get everything finalized. So I get it. It's a bit of a hassle, but $3,500 to pick up tile from one room, whew, that hurts. But it is what it is. Could have been worse. They could have found it in everything else in the house, in the plaster and everything. So luckily that's all they found, so that's good. Could have been substantially worse, so we'll count that as a blessing also. And yeah, so I'm going to wrap it up just before it gets dark here. I got to put all the tools away from the tractor and whatnot, and hopefully get back at a reasonable hour. Try and go out to dinner with one of my buddies tonight, if he's around. So we'll see. But hope you guys all had a good day and enjoyed this crazy warm spell we've just had the last couple of days. I think today was almost 60. Crazy. And it's making the yard into absolute pudding because of everything was wet and frozen. Now it's thawing. But it's nice not having thermals and sweatshirts and jackets and thick gloves and all that stuff. End of December. That's pretty cool for New England. We'll take that as a win. So anyway, thanks for watching. You guys have a good day. Hopefully tomorrow will be more emptying of the house.